Maybe I'll send the invites out one more time and see what happens.
Anyone want some marinara?
I know they're having some internet problems in the interior a few days ago. Last night there were no problems. Yeah, last night there was fantastic presentations. The class was about 3 hours. Well, we probably started half an hour late. So it was about 2.5 hours. We took probably 25 minutes worth of breaks, maybe. But the rest was pretty much entirely in Tlingit. It was really neat to see students giving presentations that were. And so I had asked for 20-minute presentations from them. We got. I didn't have a stopwatch. We don't have a stopwatch here. But the goal is really to present in the language, and it's not, we're at the intermediate level. This is our midterm. It takes us forever to get to the halfway point. And then, and we'll talk Thursday about your final, and we can negotiate if we have to and figure out what's workable for you. I try not to, there's a balance as an instructor, especially in endangered languages and languages that are particularly hard, between making sure that students are pushing themselves and able to express themselves, and you're not crushing their confidence for all eternity. So it's always sort of a balance. There will be an exam that will cover some of the concepts that we've been going over up to this point. And in this exam, you'll be asked to read things, write things, comprehend things, and say things. And so we'll see what we get to between now and then. We'll continue to sort of go over a few things, which is in particular how to start utilizing verbs, because I think we should be at a point where we can just keep learning nouns and where we can keep learning these phrases, and there's tons of phrases. So we'll spend some time going over some useful phrases as well. And then we'll also look at a few more interjections, but then we'll spend a good portion of our time looking at grammar and just practicing how to conjugate verbs, which is such a big part. And the first part we focus on is conjugating for person. So I verb, you verb, he or she verbs, we verb, y'all verb, they verb, somebody verbs, and so things like that. And so that's sort of the general plan. And then the other thing I want to say is wushtin uhan attakatkan wushkanach utuda di hayukatangi dad chakayakawe uhan at the chankisani yes wushejikach to the knee at away across the guy laugh kanach away when panin sepu at the two dun the squanky and kanach at tin. Taslayach away. Had got like 8 was ago. Ein Irkletini. 8 was ago too. Whoosh. Whoosh tin aya. Yitlagech yitundetani tunach hashilko hasyu khatangi. Khasaku wan qanins kletzia yashin kitu khatangi shtut tu. Atata yetkhwatang guksa shinkitu khatangi ya atnasquenki shinkitu khatangi tin aya hasyu kusti. Wasyang was Ha'at was school kutin, was a good one, Tek Tlingit has the dot custody, Kwasaku, Ha, Achaway, Achtuasaku Kunachaway, Atshikuk, Atin Aya, yakanajuku has to yukatang yatlilku has yigoi hunt at the cut you hung. Then to dark whooshed him. Some of the things I want to say before we get started on any type of language presentation. The reasons that I ask for presentations is mostly because I want to see and observe how Tlingit is being put together in your mind. So sometimes a teacher might watch a student give a presentation and kind of furrow their eyebrows and tack a bunch of things that are incorrect. And so historically, sometimes I'll give fairly light feedback on things like this, but it's mostly just to sort of see where you're at. And then what I do from there is continually adjust the content that we move into as a group. But like as a group, my hope is that we feel really united when we come together around our language, and that it's a good place. There's a word in Tlingit, a deitli, which is like a harbor or a shelter from, especially from a storm. And so the noun form comes from, like, if you're paddling and then the storm really hits you, there's a place you can go to get out of the storm. But it also is a verb, which means to protect and to watch over things. And so that's my hope, is when you come to the language that it's something that functions like that. It's not just one more thing to stress about, but I do expect you to be pushing yourself. You know, we should be at the point where you can continue to learn the names for things, continue to learn phrases, continue to fill in the blanks with some of these phrases, and then get a glance at this underlying structure of the language, because verb conjugation and tying concepts together is what it's all about, and that's what separates people who can, you know, look at things, and you can look at pictures on the wall, and you can name all these different things in there. But then if we were sort of, like, say if we took one of these tourist videos of Southeast Alaska or the Yukon, and we put it on the TV and we hit the mute button, what could you tell me about what you're seeing, right? And so these are some things that we want to get to, so we're able to describe the world, describe our own emotions, and sort of think about things from a Tlingit perspective, which is what we're always pushing for. There was a good question. You guys should always think of questions to ask in class. I really encourage those because I think they help us all to just continue to think about additional content. And one of those questions was, what do people say in Tlingit to acknowledge that you're sort of listening to somebody? And these are some things we pay attention to, because as you're giving a presentation, I probably should have told you this before, maybe I did. Those three can get you, you know, and so having some space there is fine. If it's like really uncomfortable, you know, like 30 seconds goes by and you haven't said anything. Good. But, you know, you have things to read off of, and that's totally fine. I think it's totally fine to have scripts at this point. The class last night, most of them had some sort of script that they were reading off of. They told me they took them an hour to do a minute of Tlingit. So, and I expected about 20 minutes, so I was pleased to invade that much of everybody's life with Tlingit. But, you know, so some of the things to think about is to try and also think about, at this point as we're transitioning into more and more Tlingit content, which is what we'll be doing, think about the rhythm of the language, the sounds that the language makes. So if somebody's talking to you in Tlingit, the ways to sort of acknowledge things that they're saying. There's public speech, which is different. So in public speech, which we figured out, I think speech in front of people, which especially in that particular word is at Tlingit or some Tlingit ceremony, or anytime when you're gathering and it elevates to Tlingit oratory, then usually there's sort of responses that are given in the moment. So if somebody's speaking and somebody really agrees with what somebody's saying, you might yell out, "Yeah, away, ayah away."
Yeah, away.
Yeah. And then there are other things, isani has, or things like that. Ikani yan, so your in-laws are listening to you. And it's a reciprocal thing, though. So if I'm standing up and speaking, it shouldn't be another raven who's yelling those things at me. And they should, the way that the good response or it's sort of like you're elevating that speaker, and it wouldn't be like, you know what, right? Because that's what you might do in a Tlingit sort of environment. Somebody's giving a lecture. It might be interesting to go to like some other subject, and when they're lecturing,
I think about that sometimes though. When someone is like talking and they really say something that I'm like, I agree with that. I'm like, I should be able to just yell, yeah.
So
There
there was a story about a speaker, and he was an older speaker maybe, went to church and kind of fell asleep a little, and somebody nudged him, "Oh, what?" So sometimes it's late and it's kuik, and he's like, "They called your name," But as far as just day-to-day conversation, I think it's a much softer version. Like you could do, like, "Oh, what?" is something where you can agree with someone a lot, and then the other thing to put in there is, "Oh," and so you see these conversations, and for stuff like that, I'd really recommend looking at the work of Alice Taft, where she did try to record, and whenever there's a camera, it's always different, but you can see speakers interacting with each other quite a bit there. And then a lot of times you're listening, you're doing stuff with body language, and what are terms to sort of agree with somebody. And a lot of times, if you are saying something, you're letting them know that you agree with what they're saying. The other things that you might do, and that's really interesting in Tlingit, is sort of turn-taking and other things like that. So if we were in a Tlingit language immersion environment and we're all having a conversation, it's not formal, there's no formalities really involved yet. And if I was talking and telling you something, I might throw a "what" in there to just say, I'm still talking. I just got to think about this for a second. And I also, if Kukrij was talking and I thought she was done, I might say, "Oh, what?" or do something like that to signal that I would like to talk. And so there's probably a little bit more work to be done about, fluent birth speakers, if there are additional noises they're making. But anyways, that question came up. Everybody ready to get started?
Take.
Perfect. Let me get my list. Okay. Dasaya.
Did you receive the email that I sent with my visual and stuff for this?
Let me check. Yeah, it just came in. And so, let's try. Those of you who have computers, you should be able to. Present this to us.
Hangout.
What's that?
Would you join the Hangout and then present in the Hangout?
Well, if you're in the room, you can present from my computer.
Okay.
But otherwise, you could try to present it from where you're at, or if you want me to drive, I'm happy to drive. And if you just say "gook," and that would be next slide. So either way, if you want to try it from where you're at, go for it. And you should be able to screen share, although what I'm finding with the Google Hangouts is unless you have two monitors, when you go into the presentation mode with something, it seems to shut down whatever you're showing. So usually what I've been doing is I've got a TV which functions as the second monitor, and I share that whole monitor, and then that way the slideshow pops up on it.
Did you just get my email?
I know, too. I haven't done that.
Naskia Achjiwu,
I just emailed.
Kutrich, Patu, Stukaha. That's it. No others.
Guess I just can't present it. Here, I'll try. Okay. My internet is my Wi-Fi.
Okay.
I mean, I could add you to the presenting.
We decided that me and Kukri are going to switch.
Oh, you're gonna
That I'm
present?
going to present hers and she's going to present.
My Wi-Fi doesn't work very well sometimes.
Oh,
Yeah, you should call them about that.
UPS Wi-Fi has got sloppy.
Well, his
No,
computer.
It's my laptop.
Okay, I got Sumit.
Okay. I just sent it again.
And it's a quick.
You need to get it? I don't know how it's gonna work now. That was way too late. If I send you my file, here you go.
Okay, 1 second. We're almost ready. Anybody got any questions before we go? Okay. So the first on my list is Kubuch. Ewane. I'm going to mute our mic until you're done.
Cwch iechyd diwysach, iach da kwan a iechyd. Sis chit plek, cwchas uk. Ad kach ac yw a iechyd. Llacht a ia, a cawach ac we cwch. Ach cw at llatiwu David A. Ka David R. Boxley Ayadusai Ya Slacht Dujiwu at Shikuch Kuch Blate Kach Enach Umbax Ye Duasak Akua Tatgeyi Slacht Aya Hayuchatangi Ka Ach Kask Tuwadach Kuch Tuch Dishat Yidat Wekuwch Shtu Altuch Ha Tlagu Tlingit Janet Du Ich Aguch Satu Du Kask Atlain Kachwe I Tinach Gukati Wekuwch Kach Shechit Ya Tlagu Kachwe Shawat Duasak Chak we kagan awahin sadakat kachwe. Yayet du tuwa husigu we kachwe. We kagan yu ayaw sika tlek. Yayet yan shwudzene uwaya we shawat. Wuch has wudisha. Gawe tlech yagiyi ke uachich. Yayet akawanut stakat kachwe. Yayet dujanak kut wujihich. Yayet yach akawachich we kachwe atakals iyi. Ant kini has awate we kachwe. Yidat at chadana nask gwal dakun chashka nu.
Wakahawe. I think this cheese show. Thuya keche dechi ju gucha ka chashka. Khanakhyab dat yak. Ha. Masakach to Sahaswe. David R. David A. Boxley. Chidechi Boxley. Okay, how goodness cheese. Tokahai, Tkoahai, that Naka Wush Agatu Sa'at, Kay, Huch away touch the cut at Yohan. We'll talk about these at the, we'll reflect on them after everybody's had a chance to go. Tokahai, you are up. I'm going to mute. Give you some feedback.
I was actually wondering if you could load up that image, because we have those good computers here, and I'm not sure how to do that mirror screen sharing stuff and that.
Okay. 1 second here. I just got Carol, I just got yours. I'll get that started. Download that.
It's just a single slide.
Okay.
Nice cheese. You gave it?
Good.
Taguha yachat yourself. De shitan ayachat. Cha de kwaye chat ka gach yi ut. Aya yut wuhihi. Anai ka yawagu yes kunatin khan ka hish ka cha ka. Yadach chat satiyidach ach ish hak yuwane ka unau. Klesh wasagu ach Tlingit kungi ka hakustiyi ka Tlingit kenach. Vancouver ka Edmonton ye wuti. Waskut hakawasus hakustiyi gut. Klesh chat to woosh gu. Yes what chat satiyidach natasahini nesh Kayagut. Klesh Shutu Audli tu Hakusti yi Ka Tlingit Chenach. Shawati aga Kuchach shi. Tu Klech Gune Awach Kech Dacha Kwan tu Jin in. Ach wusi ach ha tech yach kuchligau. ach te wuchisin. Yes, yach, qual yech, ach tuasagu, hashuka, has yach ha shi. Agats ach, wak, tunach, quasatin, ach tuasagu, ach shitun, Tlingit, yuchatangi, ka hakusti. Tlingit, yuchatangi, quashiguk, yes ka u, kas, shatu. Klesh ke, kawad, daslit, ku at, Tlatuwuch chasati. Ganashchish ain kachwanegi ya yi. Ganashchish.
Ijentak na kachkuna fikaya. Oh, sheesh. Itat awe. Wa. Kepa. Yata tak atletiyako. Last night I had some order for like, I think I talked to you guys about it. And I was like, okay, it's your turn. And then like, why? And then we why? It's a totally different order. Oh, and one note, in the future, if you guys send me presentations, put your name in it somewhere. Or else I'll save them all on my desktop and I'll have a bunch of presentations named presentation.
Which presentation? I don't have a presentation.
Let me see, what is... So there's one called Tlingit.
Yep, that one. This is like the one document I can't put my name in.
I think this one's...
If it's not, well, that's too bad.
Just gonna have to make it all up as you go. Hold on, let me screen share again.
Yeah.
Yada, wait.
You can do that first.
Okay.
Kudeskre oe. Ach, ich at tu wecha at sick ka with shafuk. Ach, ach, pla, ach. I didn't good. Ach, ka, ach, pla, ka, ach, plauk, ka, ach, ik, ka, chetsu, atlen, kanata, ka, waschan, legu, utu, wa, an. Shao, ka, shao, ka, ka, katsk, tu, ka, nuch. Legua kan ka chuts ka chak ka tuts tinch kudes krek oh that's tushi ach oe we chuts has arsiku wat tu ach uhan aya Uhan aya. Achliv ye chaya kayin. Jasmine Kenneth. At cut shu kaste way TV. Ha ia. Suitsat at ha aya. Way kunst ka geshutai. Yakega. Ka tukanei. Ka tukanei chatsiti dach ye chaya kayan zu hagu guns chish haha ewe achwa a chaye ewe cha I can't do
Yeah,
that. Chaye gugen kweslinge yuchatangi. Alfasa achlish yes kawa guk at utsku kedesi che has udukin beide ka Herman Davis awe ka du Dutch chanki sheet ka dachte kutanye kuati awe ha ich at haswusetu ha kustivi autuas eche ka atwutuashi ka yu how to say oh gosh lost like like going cross-eyed autuat say ka utuashi ka yu how to say at ku chaiga thingi yu khatangi aftu yanach khasiku achaya us yini dat thingi yu khatangi ka hakusti stu at uk oh yeah okay I didn't conjugate this verb right, so I don't know how to say it. Okay. Thingi yu khatangi hakusti stu batuwu chutke gachtu saku wuchin ach lach es huch oe chishu
Jeez. Kijk, gachtusa. Tuwusets in ku it kuaha that. Let's see. You can just email me something and I can get it downloaded or something. Kashuk Kaywudach Kanjayin. Yakega. Hey, and that Uwane. We'll do one more, then we'll take a break. Tulitin kue itkuaha yidet. Gewane. Carol. Oh. It will come back. Right.
Okay. I'm just gonna add some more stuff to my PowerPoint. During the break.
Oh, okay. Well,
Can I
then
do
let's
that?
take a break.
Okay. Yeah.
Me
too.
8 minutes.
You're just re-saying that. I say it a few more times.
Yes. Dramatic pause. That's dramatic. Okay. Back in 8 minutes. Gang. You might try one more take on that. It was a little bit blurry. It wasn't
Okay.
bad. But.
I just did my PowerPoint today.
I did all that in an hour and a half. I'm like, whoa.
And when I saw yours, I was like, I should actually add pictures of my face.
Yeah.
That's what mine's about, but I don't have it on this computer really, so I'm on Facebook right
That's
now.
yeah. That's kind of what I did too.
I wonder if I can find pictures of.
I knew while I was typing this that I was picking one of the things I had never said before, but I didn't realize how difficult it would be to actually read them out loud. I was reading in my head, I'm like, I can do this. I'm like, oh, or maybe not.
Wasa steht nuk goed kiech.
Salsa?
How are you feeling?
Oh, salsa.
Hmm.
It's yeah, better than last week, but still no real reason behind why I wasn't feeling well or why I'm still not feeling well on
Yeah,
occasion.
I think it's better.
Yeah. Me too. Didn't want to miss this.
If I can find pictures on Google.
Oh my gosh. I don't even have pictures of it on Facebook.
Oh.
That's okay.
Probably not. Probably not.
I don't think I even understood myself. So I don't know if you guys can understand me at all. Which is frustrating. On a mega level for me.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe I won't actually add photos.
Oh, same one.
Yeah. Trying to find pictures on Facebook, but yeah, whatever.
This should be our practice run, and we can do it again on Thursday.
It's forever a practice run.
But are for real, like,
Do it again for your life.
the real, like. I have like a schedule that I made for myself for my 24 hours, and I totally lost it halfway through the day. I don't even know.
Is that part of the schedule? 4 hours in.
Yup.
Schedule.
So I want to do next.
That's a good idea.
I like
If you want an electronic version.
Yeah, I should probably do an electronic version.
Everybody doing okay? We got a few more minutes before we start again. Questions are in?
I didn't print my sentences. I'm just gonna read them off here. And then maybe if we can just do this stuff. Whenever we start.
Yep.
Oh, hey, I have an idea. Wait a second. Okay, so for our midterm next semester, sorry, just like thinking way in advance, but I just had this idea. You know what we should do? We should figure out how to do it so that online folks, distance folks can participate in oratory, and then our midterm could just be an oratory presentation.
Ooh, participate in the oratory competition?
That's pretty good idea.
It's like, well, that's extra credit.
Set it in March?
Yeah,
Yeah,
beginning
March
March 5th, yeah.
That's not midterms, though. Is that midterm time?
I think it is. January, February, March, April.
Oh,
Well, I mean,
Ours are all
it's like
late anyway.
It's like in
yeah.
the middle of November.
we only have like a month left. How many months are we? 2?
In what?
The term?
This one?
2.5.
Down to weeks now.
I mean, well, how many months are we into the term?
2.5.
2.5 months?
2.5, yeah.
It's crazy.
You went by
Like, wasn't it like August last week?
For real.
Crazy.
Lance, Lance, can you hear me?
Yes?
How come you didn't go ahead and do my presentation? Is there a problem?
Oh, I was waiting. I called on you and I was waiting.
Oh, I thought you were just going to hit play for the presentation. It has my words and everything in it.
Oh, it's all recorded?
Yeah, it's all timed and recorded.
Oh, I had no idea.
Oh, okay. Well, then, there we go.
I was kind of wondering what was happening.
I think we thought we were waiting for you to say something.
Yeah, to like be like, okay, I'm ready here. Yeah.
Well, let me try. Let me try it real quick and see what happens. Because if I put this into the, like, am I supposed to hear something?
Well, if you go to slideshow tab and then you just hit, okay, you go to the tab that says slideshow on
Yeah.
the PowerPoint, and
It's-
then do click from beginning.
It's playing now, but I don't think the audio is working. It
It
says,
takes me a while, and I'm pretty quiet. I am not real confident.
is there a way to play it from your computer?
You know, I looked online, I went to different question sites, and they said you have to download something and pay for it. And I guess I guess I would rather not pay for it.
Yeah, no, I mean, you should be able to, well, let me see if I can get this going. Let's see. Okay, so let me try it in the other.
Or I'll do it. Either way you want to do. I can say the words. It's just how do I make it go forward?
You can just say, you can say gook, and then, but if you have a pre-recorded thing, another thing we could try, because I think we're getting into sort of a Windows versus a Mac type of issue, perhaps, is you can play it from your computer and screen share, and I think it should show up for us, if you wanted to try that.
Sure. How do I screen share?
So there should be some on your Google, like I can't show you guys the Google Hangouts or else it'll be like window inside window inside. I did that last time. But so as you're looking at your Google Hangout interface, on the left there should be a button Screen Share, and you should be able to select PowerPoint, and then if you play that PowerPoint, it should play for us. That's my hope. And if that doesn't work, I could do the slides and you could narrate them and just say gook when you want me to change slides. Because yeah, it's telling me I have to download something and buy Flip for Mac or something.
Everybody's gotta download something.
Crossfire.
There used to be a game called Crossfire.
Is that? So let me see if it works here.
There's this one game that I really loved on Nintendo 64. It was this. It was like one of those games, you know, like a tower defense game. Still had that game. There was also this one where you gotta run around and hunt dinosaurs, and I really like that game.
Oh, no, yeah, I do.
You're like some guy with a bow.
Yeah.
I love
And
that
you shoot
game.
Nazis.
At night before you
Yeah.
upgrade.
That was called Torah.
Yeah.
Go rock, yep.
My brother loved that game
I love that.
because he liked shooting Nazis and dinosaurs. Probably not.
Man, they should make a
Nazi
game where there's
dinosaurs.
Nazi dinosaurs.
There are
Yeah,
Nazi
like-
zombies in what game is that?
Call of Duty or something.
Yeah.
Call of Duty, something like that.
But there's
I
that
never played
movie.
them, but I saw.
There's
I
that
guess I played the
movie.
Torah.
God, what is it?
Forever ago.
There's a movie about like Nazi zombies in Antarctica.
And I want to play this Smash Brothers that was on Nintendo 64. And that it was like,
Okay.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
do you want to try it from your computer then? And we'll see if we can get the screen share.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I'll try it now. But okay, do you have to give me permission or something?
If I click on you, now you're a presenter, and you should be able to
Okay.
share from your end. I haven't done it this way yet. And if this doesn't work, we can just do your PowerPoint, and you can say the words for it.
Yeah, I was like, Maybe there's a door like on this side.
Or is it Stuguhall? Stuguhall?
Okay, so there I can see the presentation. So now if you play it, we should be able to watch it and hear it.
Oh, but I think she probably has to be unmuted though. Don't you think? She's muted. Uh-oh.
You might have to unmute yourself. And I'll mute us on this end once you start. Uh-oh. We had it. Now we can't see it.
Or you should click on the.
I think once you push present,
Oh.
I think it goes into some weird in-between zone.
Aliens watching it.
Well, you know all the stuff that. Well, we're not broadcasting though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Video check. Okay, it's seen who we don't see anything or hear anything right now. You want me to try to run the PowerPoint from my end and you can say them?
Okay, I'll try that. Can you hear me?
Yeah, let me get this started.
I just don't. I am. Oops, wrong one. Do you want me to try? Oh, there it goes.
Okay.
Du eat has quali at Tlingit. Gook. Kaulitis Sean. Oops. Oh, I got ahead of myself.
It's kind of timed, and so I don't know.
Oh, Yu Huan Jeet. Yu Conk Jeet. Quanuk. A cook like wood tune Klek ye kinuk Dudaya kush usegi Lil akil hiel ik Agach asugu Du tuwu wusagu at adishi wunech Cake asaguch duya ayak kwanaini Oh, I guess this isn't going to play.
No.
Gunishish?
Huh. Wait, don't clap yet. You can't go away. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I guess in the future, sending me links and I could play from those things, or we'll just keep trying some different things. That was great. Cheesh, mukhawe.
Okay.
Hearing it?
Okay. Sumak aya aksai.
Oops, hold on.
Okay.
Okay.
Sumak aya aksai guk. Achklayananach Zinzian Gishbadvada Awe Uhan Manakahidi Nizlut Iduasak Ginadoich Hinik Wutian Ginadoich Hini Awe. Utlay missionaries ha'anit hasua at Lach Kwalams Haushagaz Gug Aga Awe Sumach Lachatra You ani yeyawasak lenge genach talk ani sumach lachasa awe yahai sumach lachasa ach shish du kla kluzati ach kla du ach shish du ish Scotswan ani dach South America Cape of Good Hope Ashuda Achshish Klein Yak Achshish Klein Yak Klein Yikt Wushets is Gug South America Cape of Good Hope Ashuda Achshish Klein Yak Klein Yikt Wushets is Gug Sumak Yedu Sagan Ach Kladu Ish Zu Nurvik Sumak Kudzati Nurvik Away Yahai Uk Asuk Yedu Sagan Ach Kladu Kla Asuk Yedu Sagan Ach Ish Dukla Silvik Kudzati Ach Ish Zu Koa Kwashk Ipan Diatas Osa Guk Yakdat Ach Ish Kudzati Guk Sheet Kuk Ach Kla Kudzati Kakatsu Aka Awe Zantik Ahini Kaushagaz Yat At Aya Ach Shaguni Ach Awe Adat Ach Datan Najwa Sakat at Akat Ute Singadu Khatangi Stuchas Tu Apko At Aquaneich Riach Khatyati Gug Shaduatan Bechja Gao Kashi Ach Hashchasaku Wasaduasak Gug Ya Etnasquini Khatsiti UAS Ujawe
Cheese. Eat for okay. Okay.
Really? I thought that.
Kunach.
Chesed Yanu Une.
Kunach saya.
I've been working on it, but I don't.
Si slide koha ngewene. What's up with?
Because my boy, but I'll be back in. I don't have my poster and everything here. I'll be back in Whitehorse for Thursday. Is it?
Yeke, yekwati pasuk ngewene.
Let me see if I can get this screen share thing to work.
Okay, I've got it too if you want.
Okay. See that?
What is the team?
Hang on. I might have an issue that I have to be able to see my own paper too.
Oh, I see.
Hang on 1 second. I'll do this.
I could show it from my side too. You can just say gook when you want a new slide. Whatever works
Okay.
best.
Give me one more shot, and then we will do that if need be.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, you better do it. I'm not sure I can figure this out.
Now I see everything. I don't know what's going on. Okay. We found Google Hangouts, Kryptonite, PowerPoint.
Yet I've never. Well, I could make the PowerPoint work, but I realized I had to be reading off my screen too. I don't have a printout of my words.
Oh, right. Okay. No problem. In 1 second. Okay.
Okay. Patluk ye chat duasak. Katsibu dach ayahat ka Kobuk River Kwan. Akla away Los Angeles dach ka ak ish Omaha Nebraska dach. Kleinach away ach kik guk hit haji wu gantin wududliyech. Manila River ye yati hahidi. Hin yach shadat away. Utusitin we shanakidi. At Huaguch ladakat tak. Guk ade yutuakuk. Hahididi yawasa kuch yak yadi yit. Guk yu ach alf unk. Yu ach zit ich. Su ade kakwagut unalchish. That's all.
Okay, Howard. Ngewene. For your. I've got 2 versions, and so let me see which one you want. So this is
the second one.
This is what you sent,
Is
and
there
then
another one
uh,
that just focuses on the picture?
and here's one with a little bit of color correction.
I know it'll work.
Which one? This one.
Click.
Make it larger. Let me share the screen. This will be our last one for the evening, then we'll chat a little bit.
First, I have to apologize if any of this is taken out of context or insensitive. Because I'm working on trying to identify my Jewish heritage in Tlingit.
Okay.
Sakwek ye chut do a sak yik na squay hit. I haven't been able to do that yet. Hans Crossen ye do a sak ach ish. Wendy Ferris ye do sagen ach klar. Jewish da chachan ye at na squay Tlingit yuk tunge. Sheesh. Klek klam gu ha you to tonk. Ha you a tonk. Ha shagun. Klek klagu. Klek klagu. So the picture is a hermetic Jewish kind of thing, and it encompasses all the body, the Star of David, and the Milky Way. So if we start at Klek at the bottom, I connect it with the color on, and that is connected to Ha. I have such a hard time with that word. The earth. You can see it's also represented on the left part of the star, hot to hot. Day 2, the color is shake, top, ha shagun, ha na hit a T. This is our relations, our ancestors, our lineage, our moiety, our houses. Nask. Wait. Yeah. Nask. I cannot do that word. To opt. Ha. Khan. Khan. That is the food, our food, things we get from the earth to eat. And I could have spent hours and hours just listing everything, but Dakun. Oh. Ha Sachan. Ha Ku Sachan. Love. The fake yellow?
Away. Kekachinach yellow. Spook. Kichtiyach. Green.
Sheesh. Cajun. The throat. Saw. Cut. You a tongue. Ha kun. Sha ka. Nige. Our language and our storytellers. Kledu shu, which is the third eye. I didn't know how to make a word for, what is that word? Turquoise. So I just wrote ka, kanat, kahini. And that is ha you to tonk. To tonk. Klek ha you to tonk. Dachadushu, Kanata, Kahini, Ashigenya, Kayek, Ha, Hatluk. One more time, get it together, block. Hatluk, a Yak, Kut, a T, E-T, Kut, E-T, T, the Milky Way galaxy. And then when we go to the actual picture, the 3 points at the top, Hashiganya, I had help with Suvik and Noea with this. The word is creation, but there is no like word for Shiganya creating something that I could figure out. That was just like the English version, creation. That word already contains all that. So to create or to make, out, yeh. And then on the right of the star, the far right point, was Revelations, but I tried to understand it as shoots of T, pa, shoot, pa, Yanik. And the bottom of the star on the left, like I already said, ha, tuk, atuk. On the right side, ku'u, kuanach-e, kuanach-e, man, or, I didn't write any English on this, I'm trying to figure it out.
Where's this one?
Ku'u, the far bottom of the star, to the right.
Oh.
Ku'u, ku'u, kuanach-e.
Kwanki?
Kwanki, people who, like
People
of the
know.
community or something like that.
Pu'u is like a community, the people. Pu'u. Kwanki, I don't know if you can combine both, because they both, Kwan means people of, Pu'u would mean the people. But it really comes from residing somewhere. So they kind of do the same thing. So it would be sort of like saying the people of the people of the place. Which might work.
And then the bottom one is a huge idea with Jewish tradition, and it is redemption, understanding the relationships between all these 6 different concepts. And I believe that this word, ush, e, tut, kuk, ha, yawad, Tlak would be he was the one who led us away from sin.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Jeez.
Oh, 2 more things, I'm sorry. The Yanigu, Pa, Al-Sanech. I forgot what that meant. Which
Healing people from sickness, perhaps?
yeah. Healing people from sickness. I don't know why I actually put that in there. I think it had to do something. Ye kanuk yik ku naha. And I don't know if I conjugated that right, but I'm going to sit inside a star. And it kind of trying to find one way to conjugate the entire picture.
Oh, okay.
It's like you're sitting inside a star.
Okay.
And then the same
It's a star
way.
in shallow container.
And then the other one was to sit inside the Milky Way. Tlakaye Kuts Iti. Puchue.
Okay. Yeah, some complex things that you're presenting here. Some things to keep in mind is it would be two, not yik, because anything abstract becomes two as well. Because even if you say, regardless of, it could be spiritually I'm going in there, but like Tlingitani, Tukwani is the people of the world, and so that shows you tu is to be inside of something at this big and abstract conceptual level as well. And then you want, so instead of yekuk wanuk yik, the yik has to come after what you're sitting inside of. So the two, so you've got to make sure you're getting that correct. And then it would work better to say put ayanaha tu yik wanuk, so that the noun phrase comes first and then the verb phrase. And it'll work better in Tlingit that way. And I'll find turquoise. There's a color chart that C. Alaska did that's really amazing. Tsokjige was the one who did a lot of work on it, Yarovara. And it'll have turquoise on there. Some other concepts would be big. Generally, I would like us to control our inner monologue, which is creeping into an outer monologue, especially if we say, I can't say that. And so if a couple of you did that, and instead, here's my proposed replacement, because once you say that, you are telling yourself, it's over, right? And so even just these subtle things, I think if we can switch them and keep, especially because one, we're saying it in English, two, we're just sort of, we're hoisting the white flag. And even if we understand this might take me 5 years before I can accomplish this, but it can be done. And so my suggestion would be Achkanach yeyeti. Everybody say Achkanach yeyeti.
Achkanach yeyeti.
Achkanach yeyeti.
Achkanach yeyeti.
It is overpowering me. I'm getting dominated. And that's fine. That's fine to sort of be in that realm. And there's certain things I think that those things will happen. Other things to watch for is a voiced L that's creeping in there. And I know some of you are studying multiple languages. And so there, if you're speaking Haida, or I think Inupiaq and in other languages Haida has a voiced L. So you can say lagum. In Tlingit, there is no la. There are a couple speakers who would have a voiced L, but it would be a total sound replacement in the case of an N. So instead of uhan, I would say uhal. So keep an eye on that, and an X. That becomes an underline X. Those are just general things to keep an eye out for. Good. Awesome job, everybody. Fantastic. Practice away. I'm going to practice a few nouns here from going back into our beginning Tlingit and some content, getting into some of these nouns that maybe we haven't gotten to yet. And there's a few of them that are going to get to some of the sneakier sounds. So let me put this on the screen and share it. Feel free to ask questions if you have any. There's a couple interesting concepts I want to talk about, and then we'll do some sound practice and we'll all chukde out of here. One is I've been working on this clan list for several years based on a lot of different folks' input. Many folks are in on this. They're listed here, primarily the work of, on this page before, Andrew Hope III, Tom Thornton, Harold Jacobs, Jeff Lear, James Crippen, lots of conversations with lots of different people, Emmons, De Laguna, talking to people from many of these different clans, talking to people who are knowledgeable about clan migrations. And this is the type of thing that's a permanent draft. Don't ever take this type of information to any particular clan and say, well, Kone says, so you all are wrong. But, and this has changed a lot, and some of the things that I am trying to accomplish with this document is to try and understand the concept of big migrations that gave birth to certain clans, these groups that exist, and then these clans that have formed within these groups, and then these houses that have formed within clans that these groups exist within. So there's this huge dynamic thing going on.
There's an accent on the I in white bear. White bear.
Oh, yes. White. Okay, Cheesh. So I will
It's a high tone word.
make note of that.
Well, we'll have to make note of it and remember.
In English.
White.
We're giving English some tone. They need some help. Cheesh. And so the other thing is trying to break down.
Well, because there's white, and there's white, W-I-T-H.
Oh, yeah.
Where these different clan names come from as well. And so this doesn't, in the dictionary that's coming out, it'll have the sort of more, this gloss breakdown of it. But this just really has the clan name, the translation, and if known, where they sort of originate from. And this, again, and then there's these concepts, which is primary crest, secondary crest. And the way I look at this, and this idea does come from other folks who do a lot of this work, namely Ruch Shayi, is this is the crest you probably see most often from this clan. These are the other crests that they use. This is not saying anyone is more important. This is saying you're most likely to see this, and they also use this. And one thing that this list does show us is there's an awful lot of sharing that goes on among the Tlingit people. So sometimes when the language gets endangered, the knowledge gets endangered, people start holding on to things really tightly, but then they sometimes forget all these different shared histories, all these different ways that we dress our grandchildren in our most sacred atu, and these things that do happen. And so this isn't to say, hey, this is wrong, other things are wrong. But, like even right here, shtakhin, I think, needs to be
Shkrat.
shkat.
Shkrat.
So there's some more edits that'll keep coming. And so this, if you spot things in here, let me know. At some point before too long, we're going to go through this list and talk about them. So on the left, though, you would have a migration. From this migration, you'd have a group. These groups are related. And then the clans within the group are also more closely related. It's sensitive. It's very sensitive. But it comes from a lot of... It's not just done any old way. It's done really trying to give respect to the clans, and also teach just the diversity of these clans, the richness of it, so that we can fully understand this. I feel like there was a time a couple of generations ago this was common knowledge, and now it's starting to become, I think, pretty endangered. And again, if you see things that you think are wrong, just let me know, and we'll try and figure it out. There's been a lot of changes, but you really have these very large migrations, most of them northward. Tehoidi, the killer whale migration, we might call it the Nanya Ayi migration. And then from there you have these other sort of splits and these other things. And there's a couple of southward migrations, but not very many. And then this is divided into three main categories. We have the eagle or wolf side, we have the raven or crow side, and then we have Nech Adi. So we'll go through this at some point. Check it out. You can download this thing, print it, share it. whatever you want to do with it. If you're teaching the language or if you're studying the language, it's a resource that's meant to be shared. But it's not meant to say this is the way and the only way. Not whatsoever. Okay, so here we go. Repeat after me. Sloosh, 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 sloosh. Glade.
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 As you're teaching, watch for this to come out like gla with a G and an L in English as opposed to gla. Okay.
Plate, Dakwasitan.
Yes.
Hot claw.
Hot gla.
Hot claw.
Right? And so sometimes we laugh, but you got to be careful not to, don't hurt people's feelings, but also find ways to have fun with it as well, because sometimes people get really hung up on pronunciation. It should be, it's fun. Clake, 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 ook, ook, ook. So this particular sound has a couple different variations. One is a little bit softer, and in my ears, I hear this more like in Sitka and some places where they'll say ook. And then there's another type that rings more it has more of a squishy sound, ook. It's totally up to you which one you prescribe to, but make sure that there is a difference between this and the pinched TL. So if there was a T here, that would be ook. So it would have more of that snap at the front, as opposed to, because really, whether you're going or you're squishing your tongue and you're pushing the sounds out the side of your mouth without using any air from your lungs. Ooh.
TL again?
Oh yeah.
Okay, Gasawe? Somebody asked a question?
Oh, just to hear the TL again, please.
Yeah, so the TL, if this were a TL, which I don't know if that word exists. Let me, TL apostrophe O-O-K? I don't think so, but we'll just pretend that it does, whether it does or not. So without the T on there, we have ook, or ook. But that first sound kind of rings out a little bit more. If we put a T on there, ook, ook. So if we just said L apostrophe letter A, TL apostrophe letter A. The first one we have is Second one we have is So it's much shorter because the first one, the L apostrophe, we got to get these things Tlingit. I'll work on it. It comes out the sides of your mouth and it gets squished. The TL comes out the front of your mouth and it's more of a click. E. The other thing to continually keep in mind, tone. Is it high or is it low? Vowel. Is it short or is it long? Right? So the variations, if we were to put all the vowel, because vowels occur in groups. It's a group of 4. And it could be short, long, high, or low. So if this were short and high, it'd be ich. And if it were short and low, it would be ich. And if it were long and high, it'd be e. And if it were long and low, it'd be e. So we keep an eye on that because you're going to get, and you get into verbs, and they're going to shift kind of regularly. And there's other things that are going to happen if you start stacking nouns up into compound nouns. They're also going to change. But these are good things, as you continually come back into beginning Tlingit, what you're looking for is practicing those types of things. And then as you move And what you're doing, we're doing all this stuff in little chunks, and then the big thing we're working on is getting this fluid flow like a Tlingit speaker with sound line. Z, Quan. You're gonna know to get rid of that. And it's a people of a place. Na, Ateish. So this is where you really got to control tone and vowel length, because you could say chat, and that's a fish. Chat, that's me. Chat, that's me as an object to a verb, right? Chat awacha, eating a fish.
Or it could be
Chat awacha, it's eating me. And then you scream, right? Because whatever it is.
where it's hot, a root.
Oh, chat
Oh,
awacha. It's eating a root. Right, so chat, chat. They all exist. Cheese, Tlingit, cheese. Shanachwai. We'll also do some exercises in kinship. This is a term, it needs pronoun, and this is actually a gender-specific term. So a female would not have a hunch, but a female would have, you could say, a hunch a ik. My oldest, the brother of mine who's the oldest of the brothers, right? It gets a little complicated, but we'll talk about it. Du hunch. On. Somebody own that for me. Gook. So the K would turn to a G, would get a low tone I at the end. Atki. So everybody repeat after me. Atki. Another thing that happens is sometimes once your brain sees this or knows that it's there, it tends to put it on every, like, on the next consonant that comes, or the end consonant. So you might say atk instead of atk, and just let it be soft at the end. And this is really dirt or soil. It is used a lot to say, like, on the land or something. It can be used like that. I see it in Raven stories to say, to differentiate between when he got out of the water and onto the land. So it could be used that way as well, as opposed to on, because on is usually an inhabited village or a town, a place where things live. Atk is more the dirt or the soil, or just the ground. Sometimes it just means the ground. Kudatz. Clad. Ek. Eik. Ka yatatsu. Eik. So in Yakutat cake, probably Teslin, possibly Carcross, probably Prince of Wales, maybe Sanya. You would say E. It would stay low, but the EI would be an EE. So I gotta add the dialects. Claig, claig, deich, nusk. Oh, yeah, that's it. Dich. Jeez. Nutsk. Dachun. Cajun. Claydushu. Dachadushu. Nutskadushu. Gushuk. Jinkad. Fix my little hands. Clasping. Not a good illustrator. Okay. Any questions? Concerns? Okay, we'll do a few more minutes. So we'll come back into these weather verbs also after presentations. We'll start looking at these verb conjugations, because really what this is showing us is how to start shifting between verb modes, perfective, imperfective, future. So perfective is generally, it really means it has already been that, it's already achieved, it already reached that way, I guess. It has already happened. Not necessarily that it happened in the past. It means it has already happened. So when we conjugate verbs in Tlingit, we're thinking more about whether or not it has reached that state or reached that, the verb has been achieved or not. So sometimes there's achieved, sometimes it's reached that state. And this is why sometimes you'd say chwaseku, where it means I know it, and that's a perfective verb, so it's not the same as past tense. But you have to know it in order to know it in Tlingit. Right? And same with ichsatin, things like that. Imperfective means it's happening now, so it is that way right now. And then future, it's going to be. So this is also when we start getting into some speculation and some other things in Tlingit and talking about how these things work. Wasakuwati. Wasakuyati. Wasakuwati. Kuwake. So there's a couple things going on. One is the classifier. That's the way we classify. Which classifier is it?
That one.
That one.
Minus C plus I.
Yeah.
0.
Right. So yes, 0 group minus D plus I. We get yeah. Some communities, we would write this as a Y with the 2 dots over it, because sometimes it becomes a W. So in some communities, they'll say Kuwati. In other communities, they'll say Kuyati. It's strictly a dialect thing. The other thing we've got, so we've got K, which is aerial, the space. Ya is the classifier. T is the verb root, which means to be. This is one of the most dynamic verb roots in all of Tlingit. There's probably 30 or 40 different verbs that exist within this verb root. To be a member of a group, the weather to be a certain way, to exist, and there's several others that we can look at. We'll look at how dynamic the verbs can get within a particular sort of verb root. And so now, the other thing that we keep in mind as we enter this, the last thing we'll talk about tonight, controlling our tone, forever focusing on tone. Because in English we ask a question by turning the tone up at the end. So we don't say, what's up to a tea? We say, what's up to a tea? That is a question, right? This is one of the biggest things I think that influences us, and I do it all the time. So I'll say, hine to wasaku, instead of hingete to wasaku, because the tone goes up at the end, but it's not this rising, I'm asking a question thing that goes on. Keep that in mind forever, eternity. Okay. Anything else? We good? You can't get. She's playing EHNA, which I Khana. Yatachnagu. Okay. That's it. Chishuhan.
I think we were just scrolling through the